What is going on, YouTube? It is Primitive here, and today I'm going to be bringing you the purple Eyesmon Aggro Rush deck that has been showcased on the channel a couple times recently, as well as a deck that I put in the S tier of my tier list. Now, this is a deck that is very aggressive, very fast, but on top of that is extremely fun. As somebody who doesn't play a lot of purple, this deck has got me hooked. Normally, I don't really like the purple style of gameplay, but this deck is just so fun. Before we get on into the deck list, I do want to give a shout out to my boy Jesse, aka Lunar, who did give me this deck list. I did make a couple card changes that I saw fit, but he did go ahead and give me this list. He has been banging out a bunch of fantastic lists recently. We had him on with the Eyesmon deck list, as well as the X Antibody deck list, and now this is another one of the deck lists that was passed on to me. I was able to take a locals win with it last night after making a couple changes, and so I wanted to go ahead and share it with you all so you can go ahead and get some testing with it before we lose Eyesmon down to 1 going into BT8. Now, to start off with the list, we're going to start off with the Digitama, of course. We're just playing the 4 Demi-Meramon. You want to be drawing and discarding with this deck. There is no really a 5th best egg that you really want to play. You don't want to dilute your eggs. You want this to be the egg that you have. You want pretty much have this in your stack every single time. And I'll be honest, I don't think I've had any games playing it yet where I've gotten to a 5th egg and run out of eggs. And so it hasn't even been something that comes up. This deck is just very aggressive, so it's going to get there very quickly. So don't want to dilute our egg pile. We just want the 4 Demi-Maras. Now, getting on into the rookies, we're going to be playing 4 of the BT2 Gabumon. This is the main rookie that you want in your raising. This one is going to be able to draw 2, discard 1 on the deletion, and so when you put this on top of Demi-Mera, it's going to stack on top of this, and the main stack that you really want is going to be Demi-Mera into this Gabumon into Eyesmon Scatter mode, so that way you can get maximum draw and discard, be able to fill up your trash for things like Jack Raid, while also being able to potentially play out Eyesmons for free. And so this card we want to be playing at 4 just because it's very potent. It's one of the main rookie that you want to be playing in your raising. Even if you don't get scatter mode on top of it, you can put something like Kinkaku Promote on top of it, and then when it goes down, you're still going to get the on deletion effect, and being able to draw 2 cards and discard 1 card is a very powerful and heritable for a rookie. Next up, we're going to be playing 3 Gazimon. Now, this is just very staple in the format right now. Being able to block memory is super potent in the current format versus opposing purple decks. You can stop things like Jack Raids. You can stop their Cerberusmon Werewolf mode from gaining the memory. Versus blue, there's multiple ways you can stop memory through Hammer Sparks or Howling Memory Boost, things like that. And so Gazimon is just very staple right now. I'm only playing it at 3 because we need a little bit room for other rookies. And also, this is just a deck with a little bit lower of a rookie count because you're going to be able to draw so much that most of the cards that you need to see, you're going to be able to see them because you're drawing so much. So I think 3 is fine. As for with the Gabumon, you want them at 4 because you want to be seeing this in your stack essentially every single time you can. Gazimon is a card where you can just get it out there, let it chill, and you can also bring it back later with things like Mastamon, and so it's just a very strong card, and it's going to be very versatile in the deck. Then to finish off the rookies, we're playing 2 of the Eyesmon. Now, this card is just very good in the list because memory blockers are super potent versus this deck. We have many ways to gain memory through this deck, such as Jack Raid or the Cerberusmon Werewolf mode, which are kind of the 2 main cards to be able to go through your combo. And so posing memory blockers such as Gazimon or the Modoki Betamon are cards that we definitely need to be high priority to get rid of. So we are playing the Eyesmon. It is a little bit expensive of a rookie at 4, but sometimes you can just put it in raising, be able to promote it out, swing in. You can also pair it with Deathclaw. This works fantastically with Deathclaw because you can get the on deletion to delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon while also being able to delete a level 4 lore with Deathclaw's effect. And if you have the Demi-Mera underneath it, you get to draw 1, discard 1. So works really well with just a lot of the deck, and we just need ways to be able to delete rookies. A lot of the times you don't want to pay 4 to play it, but a lot of times you can go to 3 and play it, put your opponent at 1 if they have a memory blocker and raising. The next turn when they promote, it's going to be pressured by this, but like I said, we really need ways to get rid of memory blockers, and so Gazimon is a great way to do that. Now, we're only playing 9 rookies in this list, which is a bit lower than some other lists, but we are playing the Eyesmon Scatter mode here, which is going to be kind of the main piece of the deck here, the card that you want to be seeing in your hand the most, because you're going to be able to play this for 4, even if you don't have a rookie, which is fairly cheap, and it has an extremely powerful on deletion effect of being able to draw 3 and trash 2. Plus, while this is in the trash, you can play the other Eyesmon out for free, and on deletion effects do trigger in the trash, so if you have this out and you swing and it gets deleted, you can draw 3, trash 2, and you can go ahead and drop these Eyesmons for free because it will be in the trash, because like I said, it does activate in the trash. So we're going to be playing this 4 and 4 Eyesmon package here. Eyesmon is going to be limited down to 1 going into BT8 for multiple reasons with the Jogras, but even then, it's just a very powerful card. Being able to play things for free is something that's very powerful. It's something that we talked about on the podcast earlier, and I said being able to play things for free is always going to be very powerful in pretty much every single deck or card game, and this is no exception here in Digimon. Eyesmon has been very oppressive. Being able to play 2 or 3 of these for free is very strong, but this is just kind of the main combo piece here. Being able to play this out for free allows you to go into a lot of different options. You can play things such as the Kinkaku promotes that we have here, which when this comes out for free, you can put promote on top Digivolve for 1, and then you'll have Rush, or you can put some of your ultimates on there, most namely the Cerberusmon. But just being able to put Eyesmon out for free is something that's going to be very potent. It also gets the plus 2k DP boost for each scatter mode in your trash, so sometimes you can have this at 7 or 9k DP, swing over your opponent's Digimon, and it'll be stuck there. It'll be very safe, and so this is just very good. This is the champion package that we're at. You could potentially consider cutting down on 1 promote, just because you draw so much with this list that you're going to be able to see everything that you need, and so you don't really need 3 promotes in one game most of the time, or at least from my experience, and a lot of times you're going to put this in the trash so you can bring it back with Mastamon later. So if you are playing this list and you want to make some changes, you could potentially cut down on the Kinkaku promote down to 2, just because you're going to be drawing so much, you're going to see it, and sometimes it is clunky because you don't want to be having 2 or 3 of these in your hand, but it is the game ender. You can't Eyesmon, be able to put this on top for 1, swing in for game. You can also do things like Jack Raid up to, let's say, 5, and then you can play a 3-cost Gabumon, and then play Digivolve this for 2, and then swing in with Rush for game. And so this is just kind of the game ender, but like I said, you can potentially cut it down to 2. I have been considering it yet, but I just haven't fired it on it. Then getting on into our ultimates, we are going to be playing 4 and 4 of the Cerberusmon package, just one of the main key aggressive pieces of the list here. Cerberusmon is going to be very versatile. You're going to be able to Digivolve this on top of your Eyesmon. Then you're going to be able to pop this with the Werewolf mode. You'll play this for 9, you'll gain 9 when you pop, you get to draw 2, trash 1, and it just works really well. A lot of the times you're going to be playing the Eyesmons for free. You're going to be able to Digivolve on top of this for free, and if it stays your turn, then you can go ahead and play the Werewolf mode out, pop it, get its effect, swing in with Rush, or you can just pass turn by putting it on your opponent's turn, and then that'll work really well with the analog use that we're going to get into later, because this package just works really well. When you have the analogs out, you're going to be able to play this. If it has a source, when you pop it with this, you'll be able to hatch again, be able to gain memory with the analogs, and you want to be gaining as much memory as possible with this list just because it's so good. And so we're playing this at 4 and 4, and also we do have the Dead or Alive package in here, which means that when you're playing Dead or Alive for 8, if you have Cerberusmon out, you can play Dead or Alive to bring Cerberusmon Werewolf mode back from your trash. You'll delete this, you'll gain 9 memory, so you'll essentially gain 1 memory off of that, and then you'll be able to go in with Rush. It also has the very sneaky effect where if you have Cerberusmon out and your opponent swings into Dead or Alive and Security, you can bring out Werewolf mode, pop it, gain 9 memory on their turn. It's going to pass over your turn. You're going to hit 7, 8, 9 memory, and then once you have that much memory with this deck, you're going to be able to swing for 3, 4, 5 Security, maybe even just go for game, because you're going to be so versatile with the Cerberusmon, the Werewolf modes, the promotes, and the Mastamon. It's just very strong, and so we want to be maximizing on this package so that way we can just get as much aggression as possible. And then we're also going to be playing 1 Lucamon. This is a card that works really well with the Dead or Alive as well. A lot of the times this is a card that I try to get into the trash as fast as possible if it's in my hand, so that way when I play the Dead or Alive, I can go ahead and pop anything on the board. If it's a tamer, if it's a big stack, like a Doragoromon stack, whatever it is comes out. And then if you have this in your trash and they hit Dead or Alive in Security, it is very potent because you can just pop anything on the board. Dead or Alive works very well with both of these Digimon, and so being able to have them both is very nice. I only play the Lucamon at 1 because it can be very clunky. It's just something where if you have multiple in your hand, you just kind of want to get them in your trash, and you really only need the 1 in your trash for the Dead Alive. We're only playing 2 of the Dead Alives, which we're going to get to later, so playing any more of this is a little bit redundant because you're not going to be able to get you're not usually going to have enough cards in your trash to be able to play this with the effect for cheaper. It's not like Lilith Loop where you're going to be always going down to consistently having 5 or less cards in your deck. A lot of times you're going to go through the top 30, 35 cards, and so having just 1 Lucamon Chaos Mode is going to be a good number. Any more than that I think is going to be clunky. Now, getting on into the Megas, we're going to be having 3 Mastamon, as previously mentioned, and 2 Nidhogg's. Now, Nidhogg is a card that I think I've only used as a Digivolve once out of all the games that I've played, because most of the time you're just using this as a trash source to be able to gain memory, extend your turns. Being able to boost up your memory is very important in this deck because we aren't playing any memory tamers, so there's a lot of times where you can get choked to 1, and honestly, you're going to get choked to 1 a lot of turns, and so being able to have multiple cards that are going to gain you memory outside of that is going to be very important, and being able to trash Nidhogg gain a memory is super potent, but you can Digivolve on top of this, but most of the time you're going to be going with the Mastamon. Mastamon is kind of the main kind of mega that you want to be going for. We are playing the win rate 60%, which allows us to get the Mastamon out for 2, essentially. And so being able to do things like Digivolve Cerberusmon, be able to pop that with the Werewolf mode, then you can swing with Rush with the Werewolf mode, win rate out the Mastamon, which will trash your opponent's top security. If it keeps your turn, you can bring back Kinkaku Promote, swing in for Rush. If you pass turn with the Mastamon, which most of the time you don't really want to be doing, but if you do pass turn with the Mastamon, you can bring back something like the Scatter mode, but you normally don't want to be paying 4 for the Mastamon, you want to be paying the 2 with the win rate, and so it'll normally stay your turn, and you bring back things like the Kinkaku Promote, but there are also little funny things that you can do, like for example, you can win rate and be able to trash the Gazimon from your hand and then go into Mastamon, bring back the Gazimon for free, and that's going to be able to stop your opponent from gaining memory next turn with random effects and things like that. There's a lot of different things you can do with Mastamon. It's a very versatile card. It's very good. The only thing I will say is I have considered going up to 3 Nidhogg because being able to trash it and getting that memory is been super powerful. It's been overperforming. As for Mastamon, although it's very key, it's very powerful, and it has been performing really well. The 3 of them do get clunky sometimes. You do draw so much with this deck that there's a lot of times where you have 2 or 3 Mastamons in your hand and you're only really going to ever be able to play 1. So I have been considering cutting one of these to go to 3 of these, but there are also times where I've had games where I just can't find my Mastamon at all, and you really do want to be seeing it, so I'm kind of split there. If you do test this deck, you can go ahead and make that decision for yourself, but I thought I'd mention that this is a swap that you can make. If you do find Mastamon being a little clunky at 3, you could easily cut down to 2. You could go up to Nidhogg to be able to get that extra memory, or you could play something else, but that is something that you'll have to test. It's something I'm going to have to get a little bit more testing myself to see for sure, but Mastamon is very powerful in this deck. Now getting on to the Tamers, we are just playing the 4 analog. Like I mentioned recently, we're not playing a memory Tamer. That's just because with Matt, I found it very hard to play. If you're going to be playing something for 4 memory, you want to be progressing your game plan a little bit more with things like Digimon, or you can play out things like 2 analog youths or whatever, and so the memory tamer just didn't seem to be that good to me. Matt, a lot of times the only thing you really want to bring back are Jack Raids as well, because there's a lot of stuff you want to keep in your trash, so I just didn't see that useful. As for analog youth, is so good in this deck. For 2 memory, you're going to be able to search out, add a card to your hand, put 2 cards in your trash, which is super powerful in this deck, and it works so well with the Cerberusmon package. Being able to get a Cerberusmon out on top of your Eyesmon and then pop it with the Cerberusmon Werewolf mode means that you can then tap these analogs, gain 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 memory, depending on how many you have out. Plus, if you just promoted that turn, you can hatch an egg and be able to get another rookie in raising so that we can promote next turn, which is going to only further your aggression. And so analog just works with this deck in every way possible. I for a second thought about cutting down to 3 analog, and it's just not correct at all. This card is just so good. You want to be playing these as much as possible because it doesn't matter how many cards you trash. Pairing this with the Cerberusmon package is super good. It makes it so when you have 1 or 2 of these out, you can very safely go Eyesmon out after you play it out for free and go Cerberusmon on top, pass your opponent's turn. If they want to delete it, that's fine. You're going to get the draw 2 trash 1, and then you're going to be able to play the analogs to go ahead and gain memory, potentially pass their turn, and this works really well. Or you can make it more versatile on your turn, where let's say you're at 3 memory, you play the Eyesmon out, you Digivolve into Cerberusmon for 3. It can't attack because it was played out that turn, but you can go ahead and play Werewolf mode, pop it, gain the memory, go to 2, and then that's going to mean that you have the Cerberusmon out. You can win rate to be able to go up into Mastamon, and it's just, the combos with analog are so good, and the fact that it puts cards into your trash while also searching for the cards that you need makes it an invaluable resource in the deck. Then getting on into the option cards, we're going to start off with the 4 Jack Raid. This card is super versatile. Jack Raid and the Cerberusmon Werewolf mode are very big memory card gains, which is why I was saying earlier we need to be able to delete memory blockers, because we're playing this at 4, we're playing the Werewolf modes at 4, so there's a lot of memory gain here. So Jack Raid, though, you still want to be playing it at 4. You're going to be able to gain a lot of memory off this. You're going to be able to get 20 cards in your trash fairly quickly, a lot faster than any other deck's going to be able to, so you can Jack Raid for 2 in the mid game and then make the mid game the late game very quickly. We're also playing the 3 Deathclaw. Deathclaw is just super potent. We're going to need to get rid of memory blockers, like I said, so Deathclaw is a 1-cost option to do it. Elecmon is a 4 cost rookie, so it is nice to put in raising. It is nice to have a little Digimon out so you can swing checks, but it's a little bit more expensive, as where Deathclaw is not only just cheap, but it's a great security effect, and it's also going to be able to progress your gameplay, because there's the meme where Eyesmon Scatter Mode has jamming. We'll always swing and say swing with jamming as a little meme, because a lot of the times you're going to swing with Eyesmon, it's going to survive. But if you have Deathclaw, you can swing in. If it survives, that's great. You got to check, and you can, for 1, go ahead and pop your Eyesmon Scatter Mode, get your draws, get your discards, get your Eyesmons out, whatever you need to do. And so Deathclaw is very good. This was at 2, and I did cut this up to 3. I did actually end up cutting out the 3rd Elecmon for the 3rd Deathclaw, Deathclaw just because I saw it as a cheaper resource that also was able to pop the Eyesmon, so I found it more valuable. And so I like this at 3. I was considering putting it up to 4. Well, I guess I'm still considering putting it up to 4 because not only does it work just super well with the deck, being able to pop your Cerberusmon, your Werewolf modes, even your Elecmons, super good, has a fantastic security effect of being able to delete your opponent's level 4 or lower, which there are so many level 4 lowers in the metagame right now, which with hybrids, Bokomons, memory blockers, things like that. There's so many things that you can pop, and so I am considering going up to 4. Haven't tested it yet, but like I said, if you are going to go ahead and test this deck, that is something that you could test for yourself. Just letting you know that is something that I am thinking about. Then we're going to be having 2 Dead or Alive, something that I mentioned a bit earlier. This card is just very good. You're going to be able to play out your Cerberusmon Werewolf Mons for trash, pop your Cerberusmon, gain a memory, or you can bring out the Lucamon Chaos mode. It's just super good, and if this comes out of security, it's so potent. There's so many times where Dead or Alive coming out of security has just single-handedly won me the game because I either Werewolf mode come out, gain a bunch of memory, or I bring out Lucamon, pop whatever the most important thing on their board is. If they have a big stack, let's say they swing in with Doragoromon and for 2 checks or 4 checks, and on the second check you Dead or Alive and you just Lucamon pop their stack. What are they going to do after that? They lost their big stack, and now you have a 12k on the board that you can swing, go into Mastamon, whatever you need to do. So Dead or Alive, very good. At 2, it's very good. Any more than that is probably really clunky. There are times where I have to trash these from my hand because it is a bit expensive. If you don't have the cards in the trash yet, then it is a little bit dead. But with how much draw and discard is in this deck, you can very easily get your Werewolf mode or your Lucamons in there. Then we're going to be playing the 2 Win Rate here. Win Rate, just a card that I mentioned earlier. You want to be getting your Mastamons out for 2. It's also a card that allows you to trash more cards from your hand, so you can get out Eyesmons, or you can just get more cards into your trash to try and get your Jackrays to give you more memory. But Win Rate's very good. I don't Win Rate more than once in a game pretty much ever. I think I had 1 game where I win rated twice in 1 game, but it was so rare that it doesn't happen very often. So when you factor in the fact that its security trigger adds it to your hand, and you draw so many cards that you're pretty much going to see your win rate that you need pretty consistently. So playing it at any more than 2 is just going to be clunky and unnecessary. So I think win rate at 2 is going to be fine, but this card is very awesome. Being able to get your Mastamons out for 2, being able to keep your turn with the Mastamon come out so you can swing in with the promote is just very powerful. So win rate, very good. And then to finish off the list, we are playing 1 Calling from the Darkness. This is a card that works really well with the scatter mode, being able to bring back Eyesmons from your trash, pop your scatter modes, then play those Eyesmons out is going to be very potent. You can also bring back things like Nidhogg so you can gain more memory, maybe promotes, so you can put those on top of your Eyesmons, or even just rookies if you need something in your raising. But this card can be dead in some matchups. I have a lot of games where I've played where Calling of the Darkness has been not nearly as good as Deathclaw as a way to delete one of your Digimon, but it does come up. I did try playing this at 0, and there was multiple games where I figured I do need this. There are some games, I would say maybe 50% of the games, where this card doesn't do anything for me, and then another 50% where it's very powerful, so I found it to be good at 1 of. If you're in a matchup where you're not going to be playing it and you don't see yourself using it that turn, then just go ahead and put it in the trash with one of your discard effects. No foul there, and you're going to be able to move on with it, and if you do need it in that matchup, then you have it there instead of just not playing it at all. So I do like it at 1. It does make the deck very versatile. It does make it so if you have to trash some sources a little bit early, then you have a way to get them back, and so it's very good. But with that being said, this is going to be the end of the list. If this is something that you enjoyed, I do hope that you go ahead and test it out, because like I said, I have been having a ton of fun with this list. This list is super fun, very aggressive, very potent, a deck that we will probably seeing a good amount of going into the Ultimate Cups as well, and so this is something you should definitely be prepared for. But if you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe, because I'm going to be bringing you even more BT7 content, and we're going to be coming up on BT8 soon, and you already know I'm going to be bringing you a ton of BT8 content. So if that's something that you're interested in, be sure to hit subscribe so it goes straight into your inbox. But with that being said, I hope you have a great day. I'll catch you all next time. Peace out.